Of men, stronger than an ox. No, 2, no, 10. What's that they say about the big? The harder they fall. Well, the thing about Samson is he was the biggest of all. So shut up and listen close to a story most odd of a man who himself was forsaken by God.
1,998, 1,999, 2,000. You wouldn't believe it to look at me, but when I was born, I was 4 pounds. My mother didn't think I was going to make it, so she left me to die in a box on the church steps. Lucky for me, I was found and brought to the hospital. Growing up in the orphanage, I was always smaller than the other kids. They picked on me all the time, called me names, threw rocks at me. I try not to let it bother me, but it hurt. I would hide and think to myself, someday, I'm going to be stronger than all of you. Why didn't you try calling me names then? Then you'll be sorry. But who was I kidding? I was never going to be bigger than them. I was never going to be stronger. But one day, the sisters at the orphanage took us to see the circus. It was a real treat. We didn't get out much. That is when I saw the strongest man in the world. Vincent, the Magnificent! He lifted more than 1,000 pounds that day. The audience roared with applause. The ladies would gather around him after the show. Some would actually faint if you looked at them. All the kids wanted to be just like him. And I was no different. That's when I decided I wanted to be just like Vincent. So I left the orphanage that day and boarded one of the train cars holding the circus equipment. I wasn't found until the next morning when they were unloading. The crew took pity on me and let me stay on as long as I earned my keep. I did everything to make sure I could stay on. Some days I swear I lifted more than 5 times my own weight. Each day they gave me more and more to do. Each day I grew bigger and stronger. Each day I hoped Vincent would notice me. After traveling with them for a few years, we were loading up one night and Tommy told me to load up Vincent's gear. And I asked him, how am I going to do that? It must weigh more than 1,000 pounds. And then they started laughing. I don't know why they were laughing. Tommy said to me not to worry. After all my hard work, I must be as strong as Vincent now. You really think so? I says. I'm so proud of myself. I went over, picked up the crate. To my amazement, I can lift it. Who's the strong man now, Tommy? But then they just kept laughing and laughing. Tommy was laughing so hard, tears were rolling down his face. I asked him, what is so funny? And Tommy says to me, since I'm one of them now, he was going to let me in on a little secret. He told me that Vincent was more girly than burly, and that he was a fraud. He told me that Vincent didn't really carry any weight around here, if you catch my drift, boy. I was devastated. The man I looked up to was a sham. I laid in my bunk that night. And then that's when it came to me. If Vincent could be the strongest man in the world, then so can I. I went to go visit Vincent the next morning. I told him if he didn't train me to be a strong man like him, I was going to tell everyone his big secret. And then he told me he was getting on in years and didn't want to be doing this until he ended up in his grave. So he took me in as his apprentice. I was soon being billed as Samson, the great, the mightiest man on earth. Women swooned over me. Children loved me. Every man in that crowd wanted to be just like me. I felt like the king of the world. Well, until that world came crumbling down. We traveled back to my hometown. All the kids from the orphanage came to see the show. One of those nuns would brag about how one of theirs was famous now. My act was a triumph that night. And that's when everything started to go wrong. You see, the elephant act was next. And one of them must have gotten spooked. Because next thing I know, it's charging the main tent pole, and it ran right into it. I heard the wood crack and snap. It started to buckle under the weight of the tent. Everyone panicked and rushed for the exits. I heard one of the nuns scream as the pillar began to fall. It was headed straight for the children. I ran as fast as I could and caught it before it fell. It was really heavy. I was straining against its massive weight. The nuns were able to get the children out just in time. I didn't know how I was doing it. I just knew that I had to. I also knew I wasn't going to manage it much longer. I knew I wasn't going to make it out. But for the first time in my life, I knew I was a real strong man.